Hi everyone, this is Andy Morgan from Total Therapy Birmingham. This one's on intuition and vibes. Now it's probably going to get a little esoteric, but actually, um, hell, there's no surprises there. When you start talking about anything outside of what people generally understand, someone somewhere is going to call it witchcraft, voodoo, hocus pocus, sci-fi nonsense. And I'll give them that because they don't get it. And, well, they won't buy into it. And that's their choice. And most things that people don't understand or don't buy into, they're afraid of or they dismiss or whatever. Um, for example, homeopathy. And you talk to most people and go, "Oh, homeopathy is a load of hokum. It's not real. Um, it's not real medicine or anything else." But if you ask them about hair of the dog, if they happen to be a drinker, or they like a drink, and they go, "Oh yeah, yeah, hair of the dog. Yeah, I've heard of hair of the dog. Yeah, yeah, you get a hangover, or you're hungover the next day, and you go and have a little drink, and you feel better." Well, I'll tell you the medical side of it is you have the enzymes in your body that break down the alcohol, and your system's full of toxins. Your system's full of all the crap from what you've been drinking. But it's kind of run down, it's knackered. You've run out of the enzyme. I don't know the names. I'm not even going to try because I know the concept. So you have a drink, and your body goes, "Aha, alcohol. Let's create this enzyme and start breaking that stuff down." So you feel better because your system is reboosted and started up, and it starts to break down and help clean your system. But also, that's the concept of homeopathy. One of the concepts I haven't read deeply into it, and there's possibly some homeopaths. I'd love to hear from you guys if I'm not quite right, but hell, I'd love to hear from you anyway. But often, from what I understand, if you have been poisoned by something, and alcohol is a poison, or you have been afflicted by something, one of the best methods is to reintroduce that into your system and for your body in smaller doses and for your body to react to it. Funnily enough, that's just like an inoculation. You put a small dose of a disease into your system, your body creates antibodies and T cells and all the other bits and bobs, and it can help fight the infection again. So, yeah, hair of the dog, inoculations all follow the concepts of homeopathy. So next time you think homeopathy is a load of hokum, just have a second thought. Reflexology. People love reflexology. Don't necessarily understand it, but they'll go for it. But you start talking about Chinese medicine and energy systems and meridians, and they go, "Oh, no, 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 load of rubbish." What do you think reflexology is? It's a microsystem of your feet, superimposition of your entire body in your feet. Baby massage for colic. Up the right foot, across the middle, and down the left, across the left foot and down. The ascending, traversing, and descending colon. Reflexology, Chinese medicine, old school stuff. Same thing. So, when we go on to intuition and vibes, you might stretch the limits of your imagination and belief. Good. That's what I'm here for, to challenge perspectives and not change perspectives. That's up to you. But I'm here to give you a different perspective for you to go, maybe, maybe. So if I got you at homeopathy and I got you at reflexology, let's see how we go with this. This one came about. It comes up a lot in the stuff I do anyway. but it came about from a conversation the other day. Woke up with an odd feeling, and normally I would fight that and go into a slump and go, oh God, I feel rubbish again. And it's going to be a bad day because I feel rubbish. The problem with that is you spend the entire day feeling rubbish regardless of what happens because you've created it. You've said, I'm going to feel rubbish, boom, congratulations, you've just ruined your day. So instead of that, I said, well, okay, I feel odd. Okay. You kind of reset your expectation, reset your system and go, right, I feel odd. Today I'm going to feel odd. Fine. And when you do that, you'll find sometime into the day you stop feeling odd. Not because the feeling's gone away. You may even get it straight away. But because you've accepted you're going to feel odd. So odd becomes the new normal. So suddenly you feel normal again. And I posted this on public media, social media. And one of my other friends came back, went, oh, yeah, that's interesting. I had the same day. I thought it was the weather. And so I started sort of pondering back, going, do you have a weather vibe? Are you a kind of person that wakes up in the morning and go, oh, it's going to rain, bright sunny skies, and they'll take an umbrella. And they'll need it later. Everyone else is running around in t-shirts, getting wet, and you stand there kind of smug. So they have an intuition about the weather. And so I'm curious about whether this guy has it. He hasn't answered me yet, but maybe this video will prompt him. So people have something that they vibe with. People have something that they get a little bit more out of than maybe others. And we'll go into mediumship. Not necessarily talking to the dead, but intuition and being able to divination. Sorry, not mediumship, divination. And when you think of diviners, you're probably thinking of soothsayers with bones and creepy tarot card readers in tents with stones and things, and all of those are perspectives and kind of unfair and skewed ones, mainly from films. The art of divination is simply down to tuning in to your higher sense, your sixth sense, your intuition, and spotting universal patterns and whatever else you end up tuning into. And there's a lot going on out there, simply because you found something that you vibe with and you'll pay attention to. I've talked in previous ones about crystals. And there are people out there who vibe with crystals, and you can use crystals. There's a lovely exercise we do, an emotional therapy exercise we do with a box full of crystals, and you pick out crystals that define yourself and all the people in your family, and you lay them out, and you can have a lot of fun reading into what people pick, because people will pick stones that represent them. They might not necessarily consider what they've done. They just go, no, that one feels like my Uncle John, that one feels like my brother, that one feels like me, those are ones of my sons. But if you look at the stones they pick out and the size, brightness, smoothness, colour of those stones and where they place them, you can read into that, their relationship with themselves and those in their family and those closest to them. Try it. If you might upset a guy in a crystal store, but lay them out and see what you get. Or if you have any stones at home, give it a try, and see what you get. See what you read from it. Now that's in the emotional therapy exercise. One of the things that I do with my clients, but it's a form of subconscious intuition or divination, or reading into your subconscious. But maybe you're a card guy, so I used to play with playing cards my whole life. No surprise is that I use angel cards. Tarot to some extent, but mainly angel cards. Maybe you like symbols, so like runes, bones, tea leaves, reading smoke, reading ashes, looking into fire. Do you look into the fire? Do you look into fire burning in the hearth and see images? Are you a dreamer? All of these are things that you naturally vibe with, things you've naturally done or naturally did as a child, and things that you have an ability to read and divine and see and predict to some extent. Um, Whatever you want, really. Um, and there are as many forms of divination as there are blades of grass, interests, because even if you have 5 people who like cards, they'll have different cards, or some will do playing cards, some will do angel cards, some will do tarot, some will do the Norman, if I get that right. Um, but and they'll do it in different ways, but they're all right because they're all fine for them. But those people who don't use any particular tools or don't realize that they're using any particular tools with labels are probably still doing the same thing. They wake up in the morning, look out the window, and go, "It's going to rain today." There's no obvious evidence of that, and but they're probably, if they do that every single day, it'll probably rain. Um, some people look at how people walk. Some people listen to the way people talk, the way they dress, the colours they wear, the clothes they wear. It's a body language, and they're able to read a little more into that person than the average Joe. That's a form of divination. That's you're tuning into your own personal intuitions with something that you yourself vibe with. So if you are on what people would call a spiritual path, and you're looking for answers, yes, you can go out and try things and see what you pick up, but chances are you're already doing something. You already have something significant in your life that you pay attention to, that you can use. So, painting, poetry, um, listening to music. Hey, if you want a bit of fun, if you like your music, put your playlist on shuffle and then ask a question that you want answered. Or just listen to your playlist. Um, and I swear to you that there have been times when I myself and people I know and people in my family, where they've been paying attention to it, they've had very bizarre things happen to their playlists. I had one friend had her entire playlist wiped and rewritten, even though she didn't do it. My eldest son had a song that for whatever reason, the system he was using refused to play it. So we started digging into the reason why. What was it about the song that he associated with? What was the lesson? What was the lesson to be learned from that song? And why was it? What was the detriment to potentially the detriment to listening to that song? And you can have a lot of fun with it if you pay attention, and that's all it is. All the divination is asking a question, paying attention, and reading the answer. And you'll get a lot of books, you'll get a lot of guidance. So shamanism, do you keep seeing animals? Do you have a good day and you always see the same animal? Do you have a bad day and you always see the same animal? There'll be typical answers from people online, but your answer, to some extent, is specific to you. What do you get from it? What do you read from it? What do you look at and feel is the answer? Just because someone else has a different answer doesn't matter. Numbers is another one I like. So what I call synchronicities. When you look at the clock, and every time you look at the clock, not clock watching, you're looking at the clock every 5 seconds. You go, oh look, there's a synchronicity. Every time you look at the clock, because you're drawn to look at the clock, you get matching numbers. 11, 11, 14, 14. So they either match or they pair or they have a number. And my personal favourite is 34 minutes past 12. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you get those, then there's something to be said, especially if you're seeing the same numbers. So if you're seeing ones, there's probably a new change coming in your life, whether you like it or not. If you're seeing lots of nines, there's likely things coming to an end. So if you see the same patterns, there's a message there. If you get it with dreams, you get the same dream over and over again, there's a message there you're not paying attention to. So there will be something in your life that you vibe with if you're looking. If you've got your head down and you're just burying your head in the sand, there's still going to be something shouting. You keep bumping into the same person. You have the same dream, but then you ignore it. The same thing keeps happening every week. All that divination requires is for you to pay attention. All it takes for you to tune into your deeper intuitions is to pay attention and ask a question and listen for the answer, and properly listen for the answer. So I'll leave the final bit to those who are still a little bit skeptical, maybe not quite sure, or downright disbelievers. That is your right. But I ask and I challenge you, do you get lots of coincidences? If you do, how many coincidences do you need to believe or have a thought that maybe they're not a coincidence? If you have the same coincidence over and over and over and over again, that's not a coincidence, that's a pattern. How many of those do you need before you start paying attention? And that's it. It's a very, very open book, because it can be anything you vibe with and everything that you vibe with. I'm lucky because I've opened the doors to a lot of things. I paint, I write poetry, I do woodwork, I do freedom of movement, I enjoy music. I like listening to words, I like reading, I do angel cards, I have crystals, and not to say that I run my life by these. The great thing is, because I have so many, numbers, definitely numbers. Because I have so many in my life that I pay attention to, and animals, provided I'm paying attention, I don't have my head in the sand, I can pick up messages from a lot of different places. So, say, unless I'm particularly blinkered, or blind, or stubborn, or arrogant, or whatever, I can always pick up on something. But maybe you only have one or two. Great. Use them. Ask the questions, especially if you're searching for answers. Ask the questions. You probably already asked the question, how do I do this? How do I change my job? How can I find the right person? How can I do this? How can I do that? The answers are being yelled at you and given to you because you're asking the question. You just might not be paying attention to the answer, or you might not like the answer. Tough. If you get an answer over and over again and you don't like it, that's your problem. You're the one blocking it. So trust your intuition, use your intuition, play around with your intuition, and go with what you vibe with. Simple as. Okay, I've been Andy Morgan from Total Therapy Birmingham. Catch you all very soon. This one's a great one for comments if anyone wants to leave comments on their coincidences, or what they vibe with. And if you do put things with what you vibe with, tell me how you found out. When did you start using it? When did you start paying attention to it? And where's it taken you? A nice bit of feedback. And it'd be lovely to hear your stories. Okay, guys, see you all very soon.